What's it like knowing you're going to another Paralympics, man? And congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I feel like it's like half the battle. The biggest thing is just getting the trials, making sure you do what you need to, and move on to Tokyo. So it's like a little bit of pressure taken off my plate, and then a little bit more put on. So
How good did you feel going into that, and how much did you get to run? I know you ran here in Fava once in the indoor, but how much did you really get to run and race before you made it to the trials?
I felt really good going into trials, just as far as the confidence in my training and kind of what we've done leading up to that. As far as like being able to race, I don't think that we got the amount of reps in that I would have liked, especially coming from a college season where I'm racing literally every weekend and really getting that practice in of knowing how it feels to compete. But at the end of the day, I think it turned out well. And it's one of those things where, although I didn't maybe get as much experience racing as I wanted to, I was able to save some of that stress on my body, and I think I feel better going into the games now than I would have.
You mentioned the 100s. Really, I mean, you got the 100 and the 400. I guess take me through the 100 first and what it was like, qualifying second in that, and then we'll move on to the 400.
Definitely, I think I came into the one as more of just an opportunity for me to really push myself and try to compete in an event when it's not my strong suit, and try to really just enjoy myself, have fun. And I think it was just a little bit of a personal vendetta for me. So I was super excited about it. I mean, I'd ran one other time this year in the 100, and I was pretty confident with where I'm at. And being out there and being able to show what I'm capable of was just super fun, super exhilarating, and I'm psyched to put some more work and focus into it going into Tokyo, because we really haven't done too much with it.
For those of us that don't run a 400 or a 100, you know, you're really pushing yourself with that 100. It's that speed. I mean, how much work did go into, getting ready for that race?
It was mostly just focusing on the 400 and hoping that that translates down into the 100. So, I mean, even in the race, you can kind of see like through the first 30 meters, like I'm not probably where I need to be if I'm, medal contention in Tokyo. But then that 400 strength is really coming through at the end. So, I think moving into Tokyo, now that we know that I have a spot and that I'm capable of competing with, the guys at the top of the game there, it's like really focusing in on the first half of that race and being able to be competitive, so I can be in a position to, really use that strength to extend the lead rather than try to catch up at the end.
And then the 400 winning that, I mean, yet another win for you. I mean, just how good did that race feel for you?
It felt really good, and honestly, it felt like it was a really easy race. I think I got about 100 meters in, and it felt like something that, um, I was in a good spot, and I could just kind of cruise through the rest of the race for me. So it's, like I said, only about qualifying for the games and moving to the next stage, and we accomplished that, and we are good to go.
Wearing that Arkansas uniform, I mean, what does that mean? I know you've been through a lot and we've talked about it, and I'm going to bring some more stuff up here in a second, but wearing that and qualifying in that Arkansas uniform, what did that mean?
It meant a lot. I mean, I think going into the trials, I had a lot of different options and things that I could have wore, and it was kind of debate in my head of like, man, what do I want to do here? What do I want to show? And for me, it was just like a final kind of shout to everything that I've been through to get to this point. And I think for me, it was like, I don't know, just being in the moment, enjoying that, and understanding like the people, and then the just the team behind me that kind of got me to that point. So I think it was just kind of a shout and just a little bit of a recognition to them and everything that, Arkansas has given me, everything I've been through. So
Saw you at the track about a week and a half ago with your dog. I mean, just what's that whole process been like for you? And how close are you with your dog?
it's been really great. And he was able to come spend like a few weeks with me and kind of train through. And that was at a time where, the rest of the team was in Oregon for NCAA. So I was on my own, and track's a very challenging sport, especially mentally. And when you're just by yourself, kind of going through that solo, it can be even more difficult. So through those days when I was by myself, Milo would come to the track with me, and he would sit under the bench while I was running a rep because it was hot outside. And then when we were done, it's like we'd go and play some ball while I was on my rest period. So it was one of those things where it just kind of made it go by a little easier, made it feel a little more, or I guess a little less alone, and made it fun for me. That's the biggest thing that I've been trying to push with track, is just like keeping it fun, keeping it exciting, and that's what's been, pushing me to continue with the sport. So
What's next for you as you get ready for the Paralympics?
I think right now there's a lot of big opportunities that we're kind of trying to take advantage of just around the games and around like advertising, marketing that comes before the game. So I think taking advantage of those opportunities and then really just honing in and getting ready to compete at the highest level when we get to the games and really make things happen. And I think try to surprise and impress some people with what we got, coming up. And then other than that, it's really just like I said, trying to enjoy this time in our lives, trying to really make the most of all these moments and opportunities that we get.
How much did you learn from the previous time you went to the Paralympics, and how much can that help you this time around?
So much. I think the biggest thing is just that initial shock of everything that comes along with the Paralympics. It's the village, it's all of the gifts, all of the team processing, the free gear, like all of these things that can kind of get in the way and cloud your mind and get you away from the fact that at the end of the day, this is just a track meet. So now I can go in understanding all of these things are going to come. It's going to be a great experience, but at the end of the day, like there's one job. And I think it really allows me to just focus on that one thing and do it with a very clear head and just really focus in. So I'm super excited about it.
So what's really next for you? I mean, with this whole name, image, and likeness thing, I mean, are you thinking about coming back to school? Are you turning pro? Kind of what's next for Hunter Woodhall after you get through the Paralympics?
Yeah, it's still up in the air. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities and kind of roads that we could take going into next year. And I mean, I'm extremely excited to see that the NCAA is making those changes and making, that opportunity available for athletes. So we're really just going to have to find out. I think right now, just the biggest focus is on Tokyo. And then after that, I can kind of reassess and see where I'm at and then see what is the best choice moving forward.
Do you feel like you've accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish to this point? Like when you go back to the last Olympic game or your Paralympic games and then come to Arkansas and everything, do you feel like you've accomplished to this point what you wanted to accomplish in your career?
I think it's a tough question to answer and just like a yes or no. I definitely think that when I had to make the decision to go pro initially, before all this NLI stuff was changed, like I was comfortable with where I was at. I was comfortable with the things that I had done at Arkansas. I was comfortable with the time that I had spent at Arkansas. But looking back, obviously, like with the pandemic, that was, an entire season that we missed out on. We lost national championships where I think we had a great, opportunity to win a national championship as a 4x4. And when I see those things that we kind of missed out on and lost, like those are the kind of opportunities that I wish I could get back and take full advantage of. So as far as like the effort and time and energy that I put in, I think that I have, given it everything I had. And I'm very comfortable and confident and happy with what I put into the program while I had the time. However, I wish that there was more time that I was able to, take advantage of and take opportunity of and really enjoy. So it felt like a really short 4 years is what I'll say.
Pre-pandemic, as you're running indoors last year, pre-pandemic and, getting ready for the national champ. I mean, Hunter Woodhall then to where Hunter Woodhall is now, if the Olympics had happened last year, are you in a better spot this year, do you think, to compete in the Paralympics, or would you have been better last year, before the pandemic?
Yeah, I don't know, it's a tough question. It's one of those things. I think in the indoor season, I was definitely running close to the best I've ever ran. So it'd be hard for me to say that I could be in better shape than where I was. However, I think just with the games being pushed and everything kind of being slowed down a little bit, I think mentally I'm going into the games in a much better place. Just there was so much going on in 2020 to have it all in that short amount of time would have been extremely challenging. So I think being able to push it out and turn that what would have been 6 months into probably 18 months has now allowed me to kind of take care of the things I need to take care of. And now it's like I can put all of my focus into the games, whereas before it might have been, really split. So I think physically and mentally, there's a little bit of a gap in where I was and where I am now, but I think it all balances out.
Team USA, what's it mean to represent this country and put that uniform on when you get to the Olympics?
I mean, it's the pinnacle of sports and track and field, if you ask me. So I think there's no higher honor than to be able to compete on the world stage, like for your country. And it's like you're one person representing, over what is it, 350 million. So it's a big deal. It's a big honor, and it's a lot of pressure in some ways. But on the other hand, it's like it's motivated for me. It's like if I'm the one of however many millions, that's able to represent, I'm going to do it to my best ability and give it everything I got. So, yeah, it's an honor.
We've been through a lot the last year plus. Any apprehensions about going overseas and running and being around everybody as you get ready for that? I mean, it's so many unknowns still.
Yeah, I think for me, like in life, there's always so many unknowns. Like that's kind of been the story of my life. Is like we don't really know what's going to happen next, but we're going to take as much advantage and opportunity of the moment that we have right now. And for me, it was kind of the same. Obviously, it wasn't a global pandemic, but going into Rio, there was a lot of issues with Zika virus and all these different things. And I feel like every time a big international competition or something comes up, there's always going to be something that is kind of put forth to, I don't know, add clicks, I guess, to the games and everything that's around it. So for me, it's just like at the end of the day, there's one job that I have, and it's there to go and get a medal for the United States. And for me, I fully trust the governing bodies, the IOC, the IPC, the US governing body, that they're taking all the necessary precautions and things they need to do to keep everyone safe. And it's one of those things where I have to trust that they're going to do their job as just as much as they're trusting that I'm going to go there and do my job. So
Final thing, how's business, man? We
business
talked
is
to
good.
you we talked to you a while ago, but I'm sure
Yeah.
the numbers have grown and on social and with your business.
Yeah, in general, everything's doing really, really well. So it's a upward trending line, and we always like to see those graphs. So just gonna kind of try to keep doing that. And it's one of those things where I'm now to a point where I can better balance all of these things, and I can do them all more proficiently rather than trying to scramble and try to get everything done right at once. So I think we're in a really good spot.